you enjoyed reading the first part, The Ashes That Make Trees Bloom. Now we'll analyze how the neighbor's behavior affected the entire story. Students, we know all the good things happen only to good people, and we have to watch and see what will happen to the wicked neighbors. Come along with me for the second part of the reading. Students, this is just a small recapitulation. I'll show you the pictures. These all represent the things that we saw in the first part of the story. The mill, the spade, the incense sticks. Have a look at all these pictures and get connected.
Chopsticks, cushion of crepe, heron, hoe, spade, bowl, a pot, mill, sticks of incense.
Grade 7. Subject English. The topic The Ashes That Made Trees Bloom. I'm your language teacher Shanti Ma'am. Today's aim and agenda. Students, we are going to read the Japanese story. As we have already read half of the story, it's about the honesty and hardworking old couple and their pet dog. We have also come to know about real magical realism. Later part, we are going to understand that the relationship with a honest man is always like a sugar cane. You crush it, you beat it, you thrash it, you squeeze it, but it only gives you sweetness. This is what we are going to learn from this chapter. Instruction is keep your textbooks ready for a loud reading session. Pause the video whenever we have to make the note of the unfamiliar words and their meanings. Today's word in focus, pretend, to give a false appearance of being. Conjugation, pretend, pretended, pretended, pretending, pretends. Derivative, pretend is an adjective. Usage, he had a big stain on his shirt, but I pretended not to notice. Stain means a mark that is dirty. Before we start reading the text for the second comprehension, we also have to know whether the intentions of the wicked neighbors were fulfilled. Not long after that, the good old man dreamed again, and the spirit of the dog spoke to him, telling him how the wicked people had burnt the mill made from the pine tree. So after a few days, the old man had another dream. The spirit of the dog told him how their wicked neighbors had burnt the mill. The spirit of the dog said, "Take the ashes of the mill, sprinkle them on the withered trees, and they will bloom again." Withered here means completely dried trees, and bloom means again blossom into leaves and flowers. The master obeyed his order. See the way the spirit of the dog came in his dreams. The old man awoke and went at once to his wicked neighbor's house, where he found the miserable old pair sitting at the edge of their square fireplace, in the middle of the floor, sitting and smoking. So they had made a fire from the pieces of the mill that they had destroyed. You can see them sitting near the fireplace. From time to time, they warmed their hands and feet with the blaze from their bits of the mill. while behind they lay a pile of broken pieces. So now you see, the rice farmer did as the dog spirit had instructed him. The good old man humbly asked for the ashes. Now the covetous couple turned up their noses at him and scolded him as if he were a thief. You can see their behavior. They let him fill the basket with the ashes. They understood that the ashes of no use to them. So he collected the ashes with great care because he knew that his pet dog had some intention behind asking him to collect the ashes. On coming home, the old man took his wife into the garden. It being winter, their favorite cherry tree were bare. You know, winter season, children? All the leaves and the fruits and the flowers wither away, yes? And the trees will remain bare without leaves. So he took his wife to the garden. So now, students, we have to understand what will happen when he sprinkles the ashes on the trees. He sprinkled a pinch of ashes on it, and lo, it sprouted blossoms until it became a cloud of pink blooms, which perfumed the air. Perfumed is full of scent, the news of which filled the village, and everyone ran out to see the wonder. It was such a surprising scene. In the midwinter, the entire village is with pink blossoms. So here, this is the way he sprinkled the ashes on the trees, the withered trees, and they blossomed into pink. The covetous couple also heard the story and gathered up the remaining ashes of the mill, kept them to make withered trees bloom. So you see the intention of a wicked person? He would always try to do bad things. The kind old man, hearing that his lord, the demure, was to pass along the high road near the village, set out to see him, taking his basket of ashes, because he knew that there won't be ashes when he sprinkles on the demure. Now you see, as the train approached, train here is not the ordinary train that we see now. It is a big procession in which the landlords are being carried in a palanquin. Yes, and he climbed up into the old withered cherry tree. Why do you think he climbed up a tree that stood by the wayside? He saw the landlords coming, the demure. Now, in the days of demures, it was the custom when their lord passed by for all the loyal people to shut their high windows. That is the way they paid the respect to the landlords. So they even pasted them fast with a slip of paper so as not to commit the impertinence of looking down on his lordship. Impertinence means an act of ill respect to a person. So they would be very careful when the landlord passed by. All the people along the road would fall upon their hands and knees and remain prostrate until the procession passed by. Prostrate is to stay on your knees and to greet the person coming. Now the old man was on the tree and the train drew near. One tall, competent man marched ahead, crying out to the people by the way, "Get down on your knees, get down on your knees." And everyone kneeled down while the procession was passing. But the old man was on the tree. So what did the man do? The tall man, did he ask him to come down? Let us observe. Suddenly, the leader of the van caught sight of the aged man up in the tree. He was about to call him in an angry tone, but seeing He was just an old fellow. He pretended not to notice him and passed by him. So again, even though it was against the rules, he ignored him. And the palanquin was drawing closer and closer. So when the daimyo's palanquin drew near, the old man, taking a pinch of ash from his basket, scattered it over the tree. In a moment, it burst into blossoms. So the man used his sense and he put the ashes on the tree. And all the trees bloomed and the petals fell on the Lord too, as if they were welcoming him. See, the trees that had bloomed were now welcoming the landlord or the daimyo passing by. The delighted daimyo ordered the train to be stopped and got out to see the wonder. So he was also startled to look at the blossoms in the midwinter. He called for the old man. He thanked him and ordered presents of robes and cakes, pans, and other rewards were given to him. He even invited him to his castle. Castle is a place where the landlords lived. So the old man went gleefully. What is the meaning of the word gleefully? Happily. He went home and he shared his joy with his old wife. But when the greedy neighbor heard of it, he took some of the magical ashes and went on to the highway. He also intended to get some rewards from the daimyo. Was it a good way to always copy others and follow them? No, we should always do what is right. There, he waited until the daimyo's train came along, and instead of kneeling down like the crowd, he climbed up the withered cherry tree. He thought that he would copy the old man in the same manner and get all the rewards from the daimyo. Because you know his nature, he was quite greedy, and his only intention was to get rewards. When the daimyo himself was almost directly under him, he threw a handful of ashes over the tree, which did not change a particle. The wind blew the fine dust into the noses and eyes of the daimyo and his wife. See the way his intentions were not fulfilled. He threw the ashes on them, thinking that they would turn into blossoms of pink flowers. But here, the entire ashes went into their nose and suffocated them a lot. Such sneezing and choking, it spoilt all the pomp and dignity of the procession. So here, entire procession, the entire train in which they were taken, it was completely destroyed. So when the greedy neighbor sprinkled the ashes on them, they started sneezing and choking. It had spoiled all the pomp and dignity of the procession. So the landlord was completely in a rage. The man whose business it was to cry, "Get down on your knees," seized the old fool by the collar, dragged him from the tree, and tumbled him on his basket into the ditch by the road. So he was beaten up very badly because he had spoilt the pomp of the procession. And what had happened to him? Did he get any gifts from the landlords? No, he was beaten for his evil act. So when you follow others without thinking, you may fall into problem. So never do such a thing by just imitating others without thinking. So what we understand here is he died. So students, we have come to the end of the chapter. We have also learned that anything done like this in haste, in an intention of doing bad to others, will lead us to trouble. So let us see the end lines of the text. Thus the wicked old man died in the mud, but the kind friend of the dog dwelt in peace and plenty, and both he and his wife lived in the green old age. What does this tell us? That the kind act of anyone and the good deeds of a person always follows him. It's being compared with the tree. Moral of the story I like to share with you students as people are known for their deeds, as you observe in this story. Just as the tree is known for its leaves and fruits, people and animals will be kind to us if we are kind to them. Not being means wicked usually makes us less happy. So when you're mean and wicked, we can't be happy at all. So we need to save the trees and we need to be kind to people. There is a big question for all of us. What is that? Yes, we have seen the magical realism. The pet dog coming in their dreams, instructing its master and doing all the good things for him. Should we believe in the element of magical realism? Think about it. Discuss this story with your family members and enjoy the day. That's bye from Shanti ma'am.
So students, this Japanese story has enthralled all of you, isn't it? But we have a value. Be honest, develop compassion is what we learn from this chapter. And it's bye from Shanti ma'am.